Over 90% of men and 50% of women watch pornography regularly, according to various studies. And something that not many people know is that this can actually have many side effects that can have serious consequences. Hi, my name is Dimitri. I'm a psychotherapist and recovered addict. If I had known early on the impact that pornography could have had in my life, I would have been too able falling into the cycle of addiction. To an extent, the impacts that I'm going to describe are a possible risk that may or may not happen, but they are also very real side effects that happen insidiously without you realizing while you're having a great time with pornography and you watch it repeatedly over time. And the reason why I'm making this video is so that if you're experiencing some of these side effects and you're worried that your consumption of pornography is going out of control, you can flag them and reduce any damage early on. First, let's look at the side effects of watching pornography on sexuality. One of the least obvious and most important side effects is the risk to become addicted or develop compulsive behavior towards pornography. You've been watching pornography repeatedly and having a great time, and then if you try to stop watching pornography for maybe 90 days or even 30 days or even 7 days, then you realize that actually you have developed a certain craving for it. That is a risk. Another one is unrealistic body image expectations. Pornography typically refers to a certain aesthetic, and it does not match the diversity of potential sexual partners that you could have in your life. And so if you rely on this aesthetic to be sexually turned on, you will have a lot of difficulty being turned on by real people who actually are diverse and sometimes ugly, and sometimes do not match the aesthetic that we find in pornography. Related but different, there is then the objectification of the other. Pornography is a repository of sexual representations devoid of relationship. Most of the time there's an emotional disconnection in pornography where it's not about the emotional connection, it is about the sexual practices and the relationship of power between the characters. This can lead to the objectification of the other person in the sexual act at the unconscious level. The escalation to more extreme content is a very common side effect to watching pornography. You'd expect that by watching pornography, you are expanding your sexual horizons to various people and sexual practices, but as it turns out, the opposite is happening. Whatever creates that huge hit of dopamine when you're watching pornography is going to be the key, the go-to experience, and this leads to a narrowing of the sexual interest and leads to the escalation to extreme content, and the tolerance that we build over the pornography we watch will tend to make us have to watch more of the same content to have the same effect and be sexually turned on. The impaired ability to communicate sexual needs and desires. With pornography, you just have to type in a few keywords in a Windows in your laptop and you're being offered a selection of sexual scenario. The amount of effort that is required for this is literally just a click. Now, in real life, creating a meaningful sexual encounter can take a lot more effort, and if you don't take the reflex to actively share your sexual needs and interests and desires, it is likely that it's going to be difficult to create a meaningful sexual interaction. Decreased satisfaction with non-pornographic sexual stimuli. As you watch more and more pornography, if you watch more pornography than you have sex, then for your brain, pornography is the real deal. And sex is this strange thing where another person is involved and you may feel unsafe and you may feel very different. If you make pornography your sexual reality, it will actually be difficult to feel sexually turned on with real sex because the parameters will be different. Overinterpreting or misinterpreting sexual intention. A lot of the sexual violence, a huge fraction of the sexual violence that exists in this world is because people misinterpret or overinterpret the sexual intention of the person in front of them, and as a consequence, they feel like they're being given consent when they are not. By consuming the distorted sexual scripts that we see in pornography, we are possibly less able to read the sexual intentionality of the people in front of us, and this can lead to an increase in sexual crime and violence. And finally, for the side effects on sexuality, the increased risk of engaging in compulsive or risky sexual behaviors. We're seeing a lot of exotic stuff in pornography, and we want to possibly rebuild these things in our real life, and this may lead to actual risky behavior or possibly to a compulsion to de-escalation of these situations in real life. So these are the main side effects caused by watching pornography, and at this stage, you may recognize one or more that are currently present in your life. Now, if you think pornography is impacting you and you'd like to know whether or not you are addicted, you can take my pornography addiction test on my website. You'll find a link in the description of the video. Or if you want to know how I quit pornography in 6 months after a 17-year addiction, check out my video right there.